What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, November 28th, 2018. I hope you're doing well. Bitcoin, rest of the crypto markets, making some moves, seeing some gains today. We're going to talk about that. In particular, Bitcoin. We're going to look at Bitcoin on the daily chart a little bit. We're going to look at the 4-hour, see what's forming right now in the 4-hour and what it could mean in terms of resistance, supports. And we're also going to look at some momentum oscillators a little bit as well. And that's what we'll be talking about in this video. To start things off, for reference, I want to just look at a tweet I tweeted a couple days ago. I said, I'm ready for Bitcoin to go under $3,500, but if I had to throw a guess out there, I'd say Bitcoin sees a slow climb back to 50 EMA on the daily chart, around $5,500. And so when I tweeted that, you can see we were trading right around 37.19, and since then we are up to around 42.03. So up around 15% since I tweeted that. Not quite at the $5,500 yet, but that's why I said it would be a slow climb if it happened. And I want to just kind of paint this broad picture for you, which is to say, when we're trying to form a bottom, especially when the whole market is really guessing where the bottom is, this is when things are most volatile, in my opinion. And this is when we're going to have these swings up and down. So right now, if you're trying to figure out, wow, was that the bottom? Like, are we never going to see $3,500 again? Should I bought in at $3,500? Should I buy in now? Be very careful and just think very seriously about your risk tolerance in this market, with the full anticipation that we could go to $3,500. And we could actually go even further down below $3,500. And the 4-hour chart will actually help us see that picture. So before we get to the 4-hour chart, here's really what happened on the daily chart. So if you remember when we were kind of in this descending triangle, we did a lot of technical analysis on this triangle. This was kind of our mid-range pattern that we were watching. We had shorter range patterns we were watching as well towards the apex of this larger triangle. But this was the mid-range triangle. You can see the breakout target for this mid-range triangle was pretty much hit right around $3,500. So if you go to my my weekly chart that I always cover on this channel, you'll see my bottom range for Bitcoin is that $5,500 to $3,500 range. And when we would cover this descending triangle here, we would talk about, look at how the breakout area for this is really my bottom range area, right? And that's my bottom range. That's kind of my best guess in these markets, always in full knowledge of the fact that we could go lower, and I'm ready for that. Always important to be ready for that. So now that we hit the target for this mid-range descending triangle, what are we looking at? Well, first off, as with anything, we can look at or revisit to the top of, or the bottom of this triangle, this lower trend line, right? And it's that $6,000 area. That $6,000 area everybody was talking about for support now might be a very key area of resistance that everybody's going to be watching in the coming weeks, coming months, however long it takes to get there. So on the 4-hour, here we are. So we have the $5,500 area is really up here, just above the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, right? So that's a big area that we want to look out for resistance. But on the shorter time frame, right now, as we're trading within this day to even see if we're even going to get there, if we're even going to have that type of run, what I'm doing is I have this 50 EMA that I'm watching on the 4-hour. So far in this little bounce that Bitcoin has had, it really is our first area of resistance that we're seeing, which is really nothing new. The 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, whether on the 4-hour, the daily chart, are really amazing indicators, amazing areas to watch. So what I'm watching right now is I'm looking to see, are we gonna start forming this wedge? And it really hasn't formed too strongly just yet. We have so far a touch to the top, touch to the top, a touch to the top twice, and then a touch to the bottom twice. But really what I want to see is if we get a retracement back down to the bottom, if we see support there, then we can start talking about maybe we'll break this 50 EMA and actually see a run. So that's why in my tweets talking about $5,500, I said a slow climb, because I want to give it time in a scenario like this where Bitcoin can kind of move around a little bit on the upside and downside, as many people try to guess where Bitcoin is going to go next. So those are my thoughts in terms of Bitcoin on the 4-hour. That's what I'm watching. Time will tell. I mean, this whole wedge that we see here might be broken right when I upload this video, right? If Bitcoin decides it's going to continue moving and that upper trend line actually is not formed. This is something in formation right now. So time will tell. Probably the next 8 hours or so will tell if we get this wedge in formation. So on the short term, you can look at the upper end of this wedge on the 4-hour. You can look at the 50 EMA on the 4-hour and see what happens. See if we can get a run above that area, because then possibly we might actually see that slow climb to the $5,500 area for Bitcoin. So looking at the daily chart really zoomed out, I just want to talk about a couple things. So we have the RSI that will open up right now coming out of that oversold area. So here's the RSI coming out of that oversold area. I mean, really, if you go to the daily chart and zoom out, you'll see it's the most oversold it's been in years. And right now we've had a nice increase in momentum on the upside to really kind of start breaking out of that oversold area. So the point of me talking about this isn't to really even say this is very bullish. It's really a preparation type of thing, because that's kind of what it is for me. Because I'm very much reminded of a really important historical data point that we have, which is this last bear market. So you can see when we had this breakouts, right, from this first bottom, this breakout up, and I know it's hard to see because we're pretty zoomed out in the chart. What you'll notice is at that same time we were coming out of the oversold area right here. Okay, now you can see from out of this oversold area, this first touch, this first bottom that we had at the bear market, we actually made our way all the way up into overbought. Okay, and then from there, what happened is something very important to take note of. Is we were all the way in overbought right here at the top of this bottom channel, and then we came all the way back down and touched the bottom again for another oversold area, and that was the final bottom. So I'm talking about that because I just want to just throw out the possibilities that the same exact type of thing can happen again. So we might come strongly out of this oversold area, right? We might test, say, the $6,000 area like we just talked about at the beginning of this video, and then we might kind of trade up there a little bit, but then we might actually come all the way back down and test 3,500, if not 3,000 or something along those lines, one more time before exiting this bear market. So, the RSI could look something similar to the last bear market, where we're kind of just all over the place, coming back down for a final touch and oversold area, and then bull market commences. And this could all take place within 6 months. It could be within a year. But my point is, these are some really important things to look out for in terms of how long we're going to be in this bottom channel for Bitcoin. Because at the end of the day, we all know anything can happen. But I think the best thing to do is to be conservative with accumulating and do so comfortably. So those are my thoughts in terms of where Bitcoin is right now. Let's keep an eye out on it. Let's see what happens with this 4-hour chart. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we either form an upper rising wedge with this upper trend line being formed, or let's see if we actually continue this short-term trend up and break through it. And then in that case, there really is no wedge to be formed. So let me know your thoughts. How are you making out there? Do you think we're going lower? Do you think this is the bottom? I know a lot of people they get so hyped, they get so excited when they see things like this happen, these short-term gains. But, I like to play it more safe. I definitely love watching the markets when it's green. I enjoy it. I want it to continue, but I always love playing it safe. I think it's the best approach. Let me know your thoughts. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I would love to have you as part of the channel. As always, I will see you in the next video, and God bless.